Recently, local Doctor of Internal Medicine Darren Arneckie was named as the medical director for the Hopkins County Memorial Hospital Rehab Unit, and I talked about that with Dr. Arneckie on Friday morning.
Dr. Shackelford was the last medical director here, and I'd actually helped cover for him a couple of times, and he knew that his covering was kind of a stopgap to find a permanent director, and with my experience covering for him, they liked the job that I did and requested that I be the permanent medical director.
Mm-hmm. Is rehab something of interest to you that you find great interest?
It is. I mean, it's part of the care of the patient. I'm a practicing internist, so I have patients that I have as an outpatient. I have patients in the hospital, and then there's a continuation of care to either acute inpatient rehab or nursing home, and I take care of all of those aspects of care. So I think it's just part of the general care, and I'm interested in that.
Basically, when you cover, as you say, as you come through the area, you just check the status of patients and see just how everything's running.
Right. The requirements of this position is basically to be available for medical emergencies, to help manage patients that have chronic illnesses, help take care of their medical problems, and also to monitor their rehab progress. And so, that's kind of the job that I do as the medical director.
Do you see any changes you might make with the operation of the rehab unit here?
No, I think it's a transition. I think having a little bit more medical expertise will help from the standpoint of managing chronic medical problems. I think it may help in that particular area, but from the standpoint of the rehab and the care of the patient, it's going to be the same.
Mm-hmm. What is the role of this rehab unit? Is it basically just to get a patient from a certain position back home or back to a certain spot?
Right. It's a patient that's qualified for rehab, and a patient that's qualified for rehab is basically someone that can tolerate the amount of therapy that we do here. They need to be able to tolerate 3 hours of therapy to be able to qualify for the program. What it is, it's a more intensive approach to getting a patient well and getting them ready to go home. We're able to do the 3 hours of therapy. We manage all their medical problems. We have nursing. We have all of the resources of an inpatient unit, but we do provide a more intensive therapy program that works faster at getting a patient better capable of going home.
Mm-hmm. The decision that the patient's ready to go home, is that a team decision? Is it your decision? How does that
It's
work?
a team decision. We have a weekly conference where we discuss the patients. We monitor their progress. We talk about their medical problems. We talk about where they are in therapy, their capabilities of improving, what more we can do for them, and that's when we determine when the patient's going to be ready to go home.
Mm-hmm. When will you take over here, or have you already started?
I've actually started a couple of months ago.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right. So you've been in here, and you mentioned you're an internist. Will this affect your regular practice any at all, or how will you juggle those balls?
Yeah. It's a little bit more work for me. I think I'm able to manage. I've been doing it for the last couple of months, and it pushes me a little bit, but I think I'm still able to maintain my practice. I have a good staff at the office, and I think it does put a little bit more on me, but I think I can handle that.
And you already, as part of your practice, I know you visit patients in the hospital, and when they're in there and that sort of thing. So you have all that to do as well. Right,
and we're a relatively small unit, and it's something where it's not a real huge patient burden, but we would like it to be a bigger burden for me. Because I think we just have a really good program. This rehab unit is, a very highly decorated unit as far as having awards for care. I think our problem with our rehab is that we're very poorly known in the community. I think patients that could have an opportunity to be admitted to our rehab end up being admitted to rehabs that are out of town. The typical patient that we're going to see are patients that have had fractures of their hip. We'll see a lot of stroke patients, and because we don't currently have a neurologist to help manage our stroke patients, they're really transferred out of town. And the patients that are transferred out of town with the strokes end up in the rehabs in Tyler and Dallas, and they have the opportunity to come back here, but because those patients are sought after, they typically will end up in those rehabs. The thing that I think is important to know is that we're providing this very same program that those patients are getting out of town. We have medical management, we have a physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy for those patients. Those rehab stays are typically longer stays. They're 2 to 3 weeks, even a month at a time. And that's a long time for a patient's family to have to travel to and from Tyler or Dallas to see those patients. So I think this is a very poorly known resource that we have in our community that provides very good care, but we don't get the patients that we really need to fill us up and to be able to provide that care to our patients in our community.
How do you get the word out? I mean, in the traditional ways, just through advertising and promotion and marketing and all that stuff?
Right. We have people that have good experiences here. I have a patient in the community whose family was not aware, and they were calling me with their loved one who happened to be my patient, who was in the hospital in Dallas, and the hospital in Dallas was not aware of our rehab unit here that we have, and that it's in our city or in our town. And the family was very appreciative that I was able to let them know that we had this here, and they were very pleased with the care that was provided and would recommend us. So we're hoping that word of mouth gets that around, but when you have a few patients here and there, it's kind of hard to get word of mouth out.